Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I know that last one was a little long, I could have condensed it down to about a quarter of the length that it was, but we're still working on that old Westinghouse. I decided to go a little bit further with it today. Fixed some mounting issues, and with how the tuner was mounted, lack of support. Somebody been in there hacking a long time ago. Lord knows how long ago that's been. I secured the tuner, isolated it like it should be, mounted it firm as best I could, hooked it back up, hooked the wiring back up to the tuner, cleaned up some stuff on there, looked for a possible ground leakage issue that I thought I might have. Turned out I was just thinking of it backwards, and I'll explain that a little bit later on in the video. Let's see, what else did I do? That's about it. I explained my next step that I'm going to do to this after this segment right here. I don't know if I have time this afternoon to do that and edit this video too, but it's getting close. Oh, and I'm getting ready to make a test stand for this. This thing, as far as I know, is almost ready to fire back up. But I want to fire it back up with the CRT, so I got to work on that stuff next, make a mount for the CRT and all, and I'll explain that stuff later in the video too. But I want to say a quick note about the last video that I made, released. Apparently I was a little grouchy, cussing, throwing a lot of cuss words out there that probably shouldn't have, and I apologize for that. I really do. I shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff, especially to the public. So I apologize for that. I almost took the video back down and just re-edited it and just did a voiceover. But anyway, and hope you enjoy the video. Hopefully this will be a lot shorter video, and show you what I go through on this set here. It's what, 1950s, so this thing is what, in the 70s, 70 years old, somewhere thereabouts. So anyway, it's getting closer, guys. It's getting closer. Time to turn this thing on. And just a note that I didn't say in the last video, and this video here, in the upcoming part of this video, is that volume control and that other control that was under the volume control, I kept calling it brightness, and it's actually called picture, which is basically another word for contrast. So I've been calling it brightness this whole time. It's actually the picture control, and I learned a little bit about some stuff on it, and I'll say that in the later on this video. But anyway, enough of the introduction. See you guys later. Hey guys, welcome back. Continuing on this Westinghouse TV here. Next thing that I tackled real quick was the mounting of the tuner. This section right here, this is where the volume and control and brightness control went. It had, let's see if I can relate to this real quick, but this plane of the chassis right here, the top part of it, and the main chassis was insulated. You'll see the insulators right here. And you come over here, same thing, insulators here, fish paper, insulators. So this had to be, according to the design and everything, oh, and it's an insulator under here, back here too. So this here and this part here was supposed to be isolated. Now you come up to the tuner, you have a little bracket here that's mounted to the top part, which is supposed to be isolated from the main chassis. You see that it's directly connected. If you come back over here, you'll notice, if you remember the last episode, that this bracket here that holds the volume control and I guess brightness control was not insulated. Matter of fact, it was missing a bracket that went from here to here. So, and you'll notice right here, a little bit of solder right here on this section. That's where this jumper came from here to the main chassis, coming up here to this hole here and solder to that. That's to where this would ground the two controls. However, there was missing the insulators here. This was just laying down on top of this, which means there was no insulation. If you measure from the tuner or this bracket here to the frame, it was a dead short unless you pick this tuner up. So anyway, what I did is I fashioned a little small piece of aluminum that I had out of my scrap pile. Made me a small bracket to pick this up the same height as the back of this and the same distance back. Did that, then I just took some grommets, grommet assortment that you can get from Harbor Freight. It's come in really handy. Here's the sizes of the grommets. Comes in real handy. 180 pieces, and here's what it comes in. Yeah, it's at your Harbor Freight. Here's the item number. Anyway, as you see now, this bracket was setting, or you didn't see now, but this bracket was setting on top of this right here, and that was where part of the short was coming from. So now that I've picked it up, the tuner is now grounded to this frame that's the same as this, but it's isolated from using this fish paper here in the couple of these small rubber grommets. So now it is isolated, and here's our trusty triplet 630 NA again. Oh yeah, and that's a type 1. I love this meter. I've always liked the design of triplet meters, and I actually like triplet better than Simpsons. Anyway, we're going to measure right here from this section here, which is supposed to be isolated from this section. So anyway, we're going to measure, and I'm just going to let you watch and see what happens. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. You see it go to 0 and charge up. That's a capacitor. Let's see, what are we up to right here? Right now we're at on a 100K scale. So we're about 150K. I'm just letting it sit there for a minute. You see it dropping down just a little bit more. So, with that in mind, whatever. Find the power supply. I think we went over this last time. Yeah, here we go. Anyway, it took me a minute to find it, but right there. That's what we're measuring. That capacitor right there was charging up, and that is a safety cap, if I remember right. I need to double check that, but it should be a safety cap. And I believe that's, I got to look at that, because I may need to change that. I don't think so. I don't think that's a safety cap. It's just across the line. So anyway, that capacitor's been changed. But anyway, there's a 330K resistor. I think that says 330. I'm going to take my glasses out. So, I just realized I'm going to have to get my glasses. Might need to be a little bit more resistance in that than 150K. So I might need to double check myself here. But what I can do, let's just get out the capacitor tester. How about we do that? Let's get out the Syncor. You know what? Let's just have a little fun. You know what else are we doing on this nasty day in Louisiana? It's been raining off and on, and so we're just going to test all other caps, and we're going to put 100 volts on it. And we're just going to measure. It's kind of a cool little experiment. I'm just going to measure from here to here and get all the voltmeters off of it. Let's do a leakage, capacitor leakage. Here we go. What do we get? .6 milliamps. Reading still at 2.03 milliamps. We're at 48K right now. We're at 1.97 milliamps, and we're up to 50K. So what did that tell us? Hell if I know. But anyway, it's not a dead short. And now that I got that fixed, we got this fixed now, I will go in and put the controls back in right here that I took out so I could get to this. I think this is going to be fine. Now I need to look at the electrical of it, make sure that the isolation's right, and then move on with the next one. Of course, you know, it's not a really valid test, not with that supposed 330K resistor in there. But I need to find that resistor in that capacitor, because I may not have changed that cap, and that cap itself and or that resistor may have a little bit of an issue, because there shouldn't be any more leakage on here other than those two. So I got to look for that right there and find out and make sure that's right, and then I'll go from there. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that part, and we'll look for that resistor and capacitor and see if we can make this thing completely open, and then make sure that cap's good and that resistor's good, and move on. Alright, took a little bit of digging. Let me get my light over here. So, here is R84, right there, the 330K resistor, right there. Boom, boom. Alright, and then here is, I forgot what C number it was. Let's see, I got my glasses on. C80. C80 is right there, between here and there. Imagine that. So, what do we do? Well, I'm going to take my soldering iron. I'm going to disconnect the leg of this guy, and then I'm going to make a measurement with the ohm meter, and then pull this leg of this guy and see what happens. So there's something else in here, I think, that's causing me a problem. Don't know what it is exactly yet, but gives me something to look for, right? So let me do all that on solder, and let's see what I can figure out. And I have the R84 disconnected right here. Wasn't hard. And now we have increased in resistance all the way to about 600,000 ohms. Hadn't really moved since then, but if I put the resistor on there, I'm going to touch it. See, it raises. See, it comes back up. Increasing, increasing. But if I disconnect it, try to do this with one hand, guys. Cut me some slack, Jack. Drops back down. So now, let's do this live. I'm going to pull that capacitor out. Sorry for the shaky cam, boys. It's going to be interesting to find out where this leakage is if it ain't this capacitor. Just a no gnarly looking ceramic capacitor. Let's see what it does now. Ooh, yeah, baby. We still have some resistance in here. Let's see if it's capacitive. Yeah, it appears to be another capacitor in the way here. See how it's just kind of drifting down? I'm taking it loose. I'm going to short the two together. Alright. Yeah, definitely another capacitor in there somewhere. Wonder where that could be. I think I know. I just noticed something. I sure did. I'll be damned. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but the other day when I replaced this filter capacitor, this that was right there, it had, let me get that capacitor out. Thought that was kind of odd. I ain't going to tell you how I just opened this bag. Anyway, it was this capacitor right here. But I want to show you on the negative side, common side, and it had that wire right there. Little lead right there. And that lead, if I remember right, was the equivalent of this one right here, where the two filter capacitors commented at. But it comes down to the chassis of this guy. Well, the chassis of this guy is what they call, what did they call that? The shelf. This is called the shelf. But this shelf and this is supposed to be isolated. So, am I just chasing waterfalls here? Because it looked like that was, let's look at the power supply. I guess that's the easiest way to tell. Let's go over to the schematic. Yeah, some yahoos on the ham repeater. They just love to chat. They love to talk. Okay, let me rotate this. There we go. Now, gotta go up to this. Here we go. Now we're finding something. I think. Where's the power? Here we go. Sorry about that. So here is C80 right here. This is R84, and here are, you see B minus right here. Denotes chassis B minus. And then this says to chassis rails. So you got here to here. Let's see the chassis rails. Let's see. Let's verify what the chassis rails are. So you see this ground right here, this deep line right here, dash line denotes the tuner, internals of the tuner. And you notice like the feed throughs from the inside of the tuner to out, it goes through feed throughs. But look at there. There's our ground right there. Our ground right here. Everything is grounded to these grounds. Really don't make much sense. Maybe I'm just not thinking correctly. But those same grounds are referenced right here. Here's the filter capacitors right here. So that would be this part. So the chassis rails makes no sense. That's the kind of crap that just makes, like Arsenio Hall used to say, makes you go, So let's see, let me find a common ground right here. It doesn't matter. Go back to our ohm meter. So with this all being said, we're going to go from here. That's power supply common right there. I mean, you see it. Yes, you do. So, you understand where I'm going with this? This is the chassis common. 0 ohm. You won't believe me? Let's recalibrate the meter. Now, we're on this chassis right here, on the main chassis. Here is the capacitor. It's supposed to be soldered here. So this and this should not be electrically connected, correct? The way I'm looking at it. So here we are. 0 ohm. Go to this side. Okay, nothing. And this is about to blow my mind. I'm going to go right here. Okay, so that's open. Maybe I just had the ohmmeter too high and I was expecting a big problem. But this right here is power supply coming. You saw that on the schematic. And it's tied to the tuner. So that is isolated. Okay, I think I see the picture now. Like that old song says, don't go chasing waterfalls. Well, I guess that's going to be all right. Still kind of blows my mind a little bit, but that's all right. We're looking for a 150K resistor. I'm 330K. So let's go back over, measure this old roundy here. Showing about 340K. So that little sucker there is still good. It checks within tolerance. So I guess I was sorry about changing the rainbow. I mean the waterfalls. Guess I'll put this back together, and I guess move on to the next thing. So maybe I'm thinking about this backwards. This is supposed to be yes. Yeah, I am backwards. This is supposed to be isolated because the case of the TV set and everything is connected to this. This is hot. It provides the grounds for the tuner and the horizontal output section and all that. But this is supposed to be isolated. I got it. I was backwards in my thinking. That makes sense now. This is isolated. This isn't. So this goes to one side of the line. So if you had your line backwards, this would be hot in respect to earth ground. I got it now. I was backwards. I was thinking this was supposed to be hot and this is supposed to be isolated. But it's the other way around. Because this is isolated, which means the volume control and brightness knob was supposed to be isolated, and this jumper was connecting it. However, this and this part were joined together. Now I'm right. Yoo-hoo! Thank the Lord, I'm right. I finally figured it out. Yoo-hoo! Okay. Now, on another note, I found another deflection yoke on eBay that's supposed to replace this thing, and it looked like it had an intact cover on it. Found several of them on eBay that the covers were completely disintegrated, but I found one on eBay that was still intact and it was a replacement. So I just ordered that. It was about $30, which means it brings my grand total for this repair right now a little over $100. 6, 7, 8. Well, right at $100, yeah. So here we go. So anyway, waiting on that to come in, and hopefully by the time that comes in I'll be through with all this other stuff, and we might actually figure out how to put this thing together enough to see a picture. Hopefully. Anyway, let me put all this mess back together and go from there. Alright, it's been a fun few minutes since my revelation about the grounds. This being connected to earth ground. Not earth ground, but electrical ground. In other words, this is supposed to float. This is connected to B minus. So these insulators are, and the insulators here are protecting this side, I guess you could say, from the shelf, which is this side. because the power supply actually grounds to this. The filter rectifier, the filter capacitors actually are common to this. And this is connected to the chassis of the set, in other words the case of the set. So you don't want to touch that thing and get fried. So, I had it backwards a while ago. So now I've got the tuner fully installed back in. Everything is safe. I got the all rewired, put back together, cleaned up. Found out that this circuit here has a spot killer circuit on it. Because here's your on-off switch right here, and notice you got 4 leads on it right here. These two here are the AC power. These two here is your spot killer. Basically, it just turns off voltage to the control grid or screen grid of the CRT when you turn it off. In other words, when you turn it on, this pair here will turn on, of course. Apply an AC to the set, and these two here turn open. This kills the spot killer. So when you turn it off, these two opens up and these two close. I'm sorry, these two close, open up when you turn it off, and these two open, activating your spot killer. Had no idea. Anyway, what brought me to that is when I started messing with this little short orange wire right here, stiff as a fishing pole. And it just broke, and I didn't know where it came off of, so I had to research where all this stuff was, and I realized, okay, this is where it gets its power from, but not working. So I unsoldered it, and when I did, there were 2 conductors in there, not just one of the 27 ohm resistor. So that's where that orange right here is 115 volts. AGC right here, I believe it's the white wire, I think. And then this brown down here, you can see it down here barely, is a brown wire right here going in there, and this yellow is the filament string. So the only thing left that I really have to do on this tuner, I hope that's all I ever got to do this thing again, is right here you'll see some little nubs right there, and that's this little short piece of 300 ohm twin lead that's got to go back on there. And this little rig right here, and I just cut it off because that thing there has no rigidity to it. You can see I'm pushing down on it and it's not moving at all. So I just cut it out, and what I might do is just pull this 300 back out and see if I got enough, and just put a new piece of heat shrink on it. But I'll worry about that later. So I've gone about as far as I can right now with this right here. The next step, I really want to power it back up, but I'd rather do it in a different kind of environment. I don't know of anything else that I've got to do to this thing. Like I said just a few minutes ago, I've got another yoke ordered for this thing. Pictures looks like it's good. I saw something, right here, the horizontal output lead, this lead right here, is hard as a brick bat. Look how stiff that wire is. I don't really trust that. And everything goes through here, no grommets at all. I'm not liking that, so I don't know if I'd leave it set on and walk away from it for any length of time, to be quite honest with you. But this guy here, I'm going to think I'm going to get some silicone test equipment wire and put in there. And I'm thinking that should be enough to prevent this, and just replace this wire. I've got plenty of black, and I think it'll work. If not, I'll find out. And that's about as far as I can go with it. The next thing that I want to do is figure out how to make me a stand to put this CRT over here and have this yoke on it. I think I could fix it to where it kind of goes out at an angle here. I'm going to try to figure that out, how to mount that thing stable. And I think I'm going to just take me a piece of plywood and make me a stand for this that'll keep this thing stable, and just match these 2 holes here, and that will hold the CRT up. And I'm hoping that's enough to hold it. I may have to make some additional brackets or something like that, or have something come out around to hold these here, which I might do. I might just make me a piece of plywood long enough, wide enough to go from about here to here. And I'm not even sure y'all seen any of that. I'm going to start this again. I'm going to make me a bracket to go on the bottom. This is the bottom of the CRT, I believe. And it's going to be a piece of plywood that's wide long enough, you know, up this way and this way, to make a support for this thing, to keep it from bobbing over one way or the other. And then I'm going to make it wide enough to come out right about here, and I'll just come up with a piece of 2x4, short piece of 2x4, about somewhere in here, and do that on the other side. That way I can support the other side of the CRT on this side with these two supports. That's the thing, keep all the stress off of it. And then I can just lay that over here next to the TV, and I should be able to just plug the yoke in, something like this right here, and the neck, which is on the other side. I still got to figure this out, okay? I may have to make an adapter for this right here. I've got an old brightener I'm not using. I might just make an adapter to make this come over here to this. That way I can have the CRT in the back here away from the chassis that I can work on. And what I might have to do is extend the lead, this lead here a little bit while I'm working on it, and then put it all back together when I'm done. So that's my plan. I think that's the next phase, is try to make this work with something. So that's about it for this channel. So I appreciate you guys watching. I hope this is a little bit shorter this time. I'm going to try to edit it while I got a little free time on my hands. But thanks for riding with me. Sorry about the last episode. Never mind. Guys, I appreciate y'all watching. I appreciate all you guys out there. Thank you for watching, and I need to look at that knot over there like I'm... anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and hit that like and subscribe, and comments, gentle comments, please. I don't need no baloney. And I'll see you on the next round. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.